Knees and toes.
Those shoulders have to do with anything.
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Monday, April 6, 2026. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host, Phil. Episode 428. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com and look for the time breakdowns in the description of the show. Coming up this week, Phil's article breaking down this game in more detail, Buffalo versus Vancouver, that sealed Buffalo's fate into the playoffs. That's coming out on Tuesday. We got an interview coming out on Wednesday with somebody from Rochester, because that is the next opponent on the Buffalo Bandits schedule. That, again, Wednesday. Check that out. Power rankings and Week 20 pick'em. 2 more weeks to get your people's picks in. This past week, no movement. We all went 4-1 across the board. That will be out on Thursday, but you can vote on X on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and on Instagram stories on our page, again, Buffalo Sports Collective, on Tuesday and Wednesday. Participate. 2 weeks left. We're still trying to catch Phil, the one above me currently. He's the one next to me on YouTube. On today's episode, Buffalo versus Vancouver reaction, Week 19 across the NLL and the Sabres' last 2 games. But, Phil, we got a ton to dissect in a double clinch weekend for Buffalo. Both of them went a little different ways. But, yeah, we'll start with the Buffalo Bandits, because they are our team that we cover the most on this show. We are a Bandit-centered show if you're just tuning in now. Buffalo versus Warriors. 15-5, Phil. I don't think anybody across the entire globe saw this coming. Even if you had Buffalo, which you and the people both had Buffalo, I was wrong in the people's pick, or in the pick'em. I took Vancouver. I took them here. You were holding steadfast on Buffalo winning this game. I don't think anybody saw the spread being 10, though. Byrne had 4, Rez had 3, McKay, Bucky, and Smith each had 2, and Dylan Robinson and Clay Scanlon rounded out with 1 each. Vince making only 22 of 27 saves because he was not needed very much, thanks to the electric defense and a lot of help from Vancouver's offense. Evan C. came in for the final 4 minutes and went 4 for 4. Shots on goal, 56-31 in favor of Buffalo. Absolutely insane. The faceoff dot did not see Connor Farrell versus Max Adler. It saw Max Adler versus majority Dylan Robinson with a sprinkle of Kyle Buchanan and 1 of Carter Coffey. 15-10 though. Vancouver 0 for 5 in the power play. Buffalo 3 for 5. They were winning Buffalo 3-2 after 1. It was 8-4 Buffalo at half after scoring the final 4 before halftime. It was 10-5 after 3, and Buffalo scored the final 5 of the game. Phil, overview of what your thoughts of the game are, and you can keep talking as I go rip off this number 9, and we go to number 10 on the big TV board.
Yeah, the biggest thought I had about, I guess there's 2 main sides coming out of this game. On one hand, you have, is this Buffalo's true coming out party? They had a couple really close games, but if you look at the schedule they've played during this win streak, other than San Diego, they've played pretty much all top of the league talent, and they've been on a win streak during all of it. Saskatchewan twice, Toronto, Colorado, even San Diego, fighting for a playoff spot. Desperate team, not a bad team. And then this game against the Warriors. So this game is either a culmination of a team that's been building and finally figuring it out without Chase, without Cloutier, without their defense, mixing it up with all the new rules, or it's also partly Vancouver had a really off night. I think it's a little bit of both, personally. I think Buffalo did look really good. I thought, for the most part, they looked like the better team. And at the same time, I thought there were times where Vancouver looked kind of a shell of themselves of what we normally get from a Vancouver team. So if you told me that they saw each other again, I don't know if we ever see the Bandits have this kind of score against the Warriors again. If they got closer to a 12-7, I can maybe see something more along those lines. But winning by 10 against arguably the best team in the league, doing it the way they did. And I think one of the bigger things in this game was leading 8-4 at half. There was no halftime drought. Buffalo was able to keep the pressure on the entire game. They allowed one more goal the whole game, almost doubled their score in the second half again. It was just great to see that even after a really strong first half, they didn't let the gas off. I mean, Vancouver very well. They're a great team. Could have came back in the second half and made a real game of it, but Buffalo was able to just keep that pressure up, keep that intensity up, and they easily looked like the better team in this game.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. It was a culmination of Buffalo's on an absolute heater. Like, they are the hottest team in the NLL right now by far. I don't think there's a close second because of the parity across the league. Buffalo's just, I mean, they've won 6 in a row. They've won 7 of their last 8. The only team they've lost to in the last 8 games was Vancouver in a two-goal loss. But it was a culmination of Buffalo playing the way they did and the offense finally coming out hot and looking incredible. We finally got what we wanted with the 7 forwards that should be the 7 forwards going into playoffs. And this was probably the worst a Kurt Malowski's team has looked ever. Like that, it just didn't look right the entire game. So it was a perfect. You got the two extremes from both teams, where Vancouver was just playing as bad as we've ever seen them, and Buffalo is playing as good as we've ever seen them, and that's why you get a 15-5 final. And I'll be honest, it felt like Buffalo was the best team the majority of the game. Like, yeah, through the first, I don't know, 17 minutes of the game, it was back and forth. And it felt like, okay, Buffalo would get up a lit early, and then Vancouver, and then Buffalo, and it was flowing back and forth. And then Buffalo was just like, I'm had enough of this. Let's just go crank up the score. But Vancouver, like 31 shots were off target. That's as many shots as they had on net. It just doesn't happen. There were 0 transition opportunities, not even one shot on net that went wide. Like, Buffalo squashed that completely. And we've been talking for how many weeks now? 16 weeks of the possibilities of this forward group getting back and causing turnovers. We finally saw it. Like, this was the first game this season that we've seen literally every forward getting back and causing turnovers. And we finally got the Josh Byrne one. But I really like, we talked about it. We talked about it last episode of, if Connor Farrell's out an extended amount of time, I would like to see Dylan Robinson at the dot. And it wasn't because he went 3 for 6. It was because of what I saw him grinding it out. Like, it was scrums. It was not any clean wins by Jake Naso the entire time. And that's what we saw at the dot this time. So huge hats off to Dylan Robinson and what he did. And then huge hats off to the hands team out there. Like, they were the ones picking up the loose balls, causing the turnovers. Like, I don't remember Max Adler coming up with one clean. And if he did, he was swarmed as soon as he was. But the offense, beyond some sloppy plays in the first quarter, especially by Kyle Buchanan, he ended up playing really well, but he was having drops all over the place in the first quarter. The offense looked fantastic. The defense was locking it down, getting those block shots. So when the shot was going to be on net, they were in front of it. I think it was 13 block shots. We'll get into that in a second. And then Buffalo kind of stayed smart in that fourth quarter. And they even talked about, Ashley Dockey mentioned it, of Johnny T saying, like, they want to fight. Like, stay out of it. Play your game. This is all they got. This is a desperate team trying to do it. And, then it comes back to
4 fights.
And then still Steve Perillo's on the bench. And we saw this I think they mentioned in the press conference that, even on the bench, he was like, yeah, I wanted to do it again because it was fun. But just a fantastic top to bottom game. This was a big time statement game from Buffalo, just going like, yeah, we've been on a 5-game winning streak. And you and I on this show have been like, yeah, but 2 of them were comeback. The San Diego one didn't look all that good. It was desperation with the defense, and Matt Vince weren't going to get the recognition. This was a full 60-minute effort from top to bottom, every aspect of the game. First time we've seen this in a while that, they're getting, I'm not even saying they're getting hot. They're putting all the pieces together at the perfect time. 2 weeks left of the NLL season leading into the playoffs. Like, we can forget that 4-game, and I'm not trying to completely absolve the offense of the last 2 weeks and the 9 goals that they had for 5 straight weeks. But this feels like the team that's finally figured out their identity, finally figured out the offense, finally figured out the back end, and finally is putting it all together at the perfect time.
Yeah, it kind of, as this game was going on, especially after the final horn went, just from a league perspective, mentally, I was like, uh-oh. Like, the Bandits just look like they're all the way back, and they're feeling it. And I mean, even I asked Johnny in the press conference, like, you had two really close games and you won them, but they were really close. So what does a game like this, it's kind of like you just said, a statement win like this, do for the team, for the confidence of the team? Like Vancouver, again, arguably the best team in the league. You go out there and put up a performance that's not even close, and you dominated most of the game. Like, what does that do for you? And he was kind of saying, like, that's great, but we still have 2 weeks to go. We still have to keep the team grounded. Like, kind of told them, like, this is a great win. You're back in the playoffs. You did everything you set out to accomplish way back when. We're going to keep bringing it up the whole season. That 2-game weekend where they were looking like they could have easily been sellers, you've done everything you needed to come back and get your spot and possibly push for even a home playoff game as the season ends. But this is one game. Like, yes, it feels amazing. Go enjoy it. But after that, we still got tons of work to do. And I think this is a veteran group that knows that, understands that, but especially for the offense, we've seen the defense look great for a long time. They've been putting up great numbers. Vince has been putting great up numbers, but the offense, more than anything, I think needed a game like this. And it's not against a weak team. It's against one of the best goalies in the league. It's against one of the best defenses in the league. And I'm not saying, again, I don't know if they could repeat 15 goals against Vancouver if you played them 3 more times in the playoffs, but still, to have this kind of performance has to feel good for the offense that, yes, we can still do it. Yes, even as a team, like, we're still here. This is still, like, we're still an elite team in the league, and we still have the ability to go out there and compete with the absolute best and look the way they did. It was a very exciting game, but it was just a good statement win. And again, like, looking around the league, if I'm the rest of the league, a little bit nervous, and I don't love to see that from Buffalo.
Yeah, they're in the last 6, or during this 6-game winning streak, they have not allowed an opponent over 10 goals, and they have not allowed an opponent over 11 goals since Philly. Think about that. Philly scored 13 on. Think about where they would be. I'm not trying to revision in history because that's hypothetical history. That's our other show. But, yeah, 13 versus, if you had won that one, you're sitting like really pretty in a home playoff game, possibly looking at the number 1 seed. But we can't revisit history. Let's dive into the forwards here. And I'm going to say this. I had Easter on Saturday, so I wasn't in attendance. Phil was gracious enough to head up to the box, and he led the charge as one of the only outside media people there. So he held it down for the BSC there. I regret going to Easter. I regret that, everything about it. Like, I hate myself because, so when I got home, it was like halftime. And I was like, okay, I'll do the notes for the other 2 games, or the other 3 games that have already finished. Then I'll kind of look at the box score. And then I see it's like 10-5 at end of 3. I was like, okay, I'm just going to let this game roll on. I'm going to start it from the clean slate here. I'll do all my notes of like who scored when. And so I'm already prepared, and I'm already going like, I'm seeing some highlights on Instagram, and then I'm seeing the fights, and then I'm seeing all this. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Did this, and we gave our tickets to my sister-in-law and her boyfriend, and I sent, we got done with the game, I think 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and I look at Brooke, I was like, they better have said this was one of the best games they've ever been a part of, because I am so angry not going to this game. But either way, I not even just like as a Buffalo person that covers the team, but as like a lacrosse fan and NLL fan, this is a game that you show to people that want to
absolutely
it's just, but we'll go over the forwards now because I'm not going to pity party myself too much more. The biggest thing to me of what has been an issue for this offense the last 2 weeks was the goal droughts of them. Just like last week versus Frank Chiliano, they couldn't buy a goal. Like, he was bailing them out, and I was not ready to come on here and just go like, that's what I've been against all season because of the hole they dug in. That you can't just keep saying that you got goalie. Like, but the offense looked so good last week, they just couldn't beat him. The week before, San Diego, they just didn't look good on offense whatsoever. But the goal droughts were killing them. They had 2 big goal droughts in this one, and both of them were under 9 minutes. Like, between goals 10 and 11, when it was kind of out of hand already, it was an 8:53, and between goals 2 and 3 was 7:48. Like, those were the longest droughts they've had, other than it was just being poured on. So I think that, to me, is the biggest ticket to this game, along with like the 15 goals, obviously, but the goal droughts just weren't there. Like, every time Vancouver would score, if it was 1 or 2, they would stop the run and score a goal themselves. Those goal droughts that we have typically seen the last 2 weeks just weren't there for Buffalo.
Yeah, especially in the second half after it was 8-4 and it started off, Buffalo got a goal and then Vancouver got a goal. And I was just thinking to myself, just don't let them go on a run and you're okay. Just every time they score, you don't have to score right away. If they get 2, get 1. If they get 2, get 1. Then go on a little bit of run of your own and things like that. And just they ended up getting 1 goal the rest of the second half. Didn't see that coming. But I think that was a big part of it. It was very back and forth early in the game, but you never saw either team really starting to pull ahead. It was one team, then the other team, and then one team, and then Buffalo just, like you said no more and went on their monster run, scoring, I think they said 11 of the last 12 goals, which is insane. But the offense looked good. I mean, there were times where, and it's confusing because Christian Del Bianco still had a good game. He wasn't horrible by any means.
This game could have been 25-5.
Yes, and he still had a lot of big saves. He still bailed his team out quite a bit, but there were still goals where I was like, he normally would save that, and he would like a lot of outside goals and more than I think he's used to letting in. Some were great shots, some were tricky shots, but there were a few that kind of like squeaked through him, and I was like, man, he just does not normally allow those kind of goals.
Ian McKay one, that third one on the power play, I've watched it back like 4 times. I still don't know how it got through. I really don't. Like, it scored, but I don't physically know how it went through his chest. I don't get it. Like, yeah. But it went through. That's one of those ones that you're talking about.
So, I mean, like, it was, again, a lot of this game to me was half Vancouver played not very well, and half Buffalo looked really good. So some of those outside shots I don't think fall more often than not against him. But they were still finding really good lanes. They were still finding the space to get those players open for those outside shots. Burns' shot looked incredible. He finally looked a little bit more like Josh Byrne. He has for a little while now. The last few games, he's looked really, really good. But his shot seemed like it was just on in that game. Again, even I think there were 2 or 3 where I was just watching him, and he had Christian Del Bianco faked where Christian would kind of lean to the right, think he's going far side, and then he'd pull it.
Crisscross,
Yep, he would pull it back inside and just sneak it through the post. Like, that's the Josh Byrne you need the rest of the season, and that's the kind of play. You don't need him to get 10 points, but if he can get those 3 goals and 2 assists for 5 points or more than that, like, that's kind of what you need from that left side. Having Ian McKay up there, I think, was massive. Finally seeing him once again as a full-time forward was massive. His 6 points were great. He looked really good up there. He was helping even when he wasn't scoring, but even his goals, he had 1 goal wiped out on that illegal substitution. So he looked really good. And even Joey Rez with his 3 goals, like, he felt like he was finally starting to click with this offense. And we've said that for a little bit now. It's a whole new team. It's a whole new system to him. It's going to take him a little bit of time to find what he wants and what works for him. I still think a couple of his were squeakers past Christian Del Bianco that, again, I don't think he normally lets in. But to see him getting that, and maybe a game like this, 3 goals on 6 shots, maybe that's the kind of game that propels him into being a more dominant force on that right side. And even what Smith said, like, even if he's not necessarily scoring, in this game he did, and I think this game solidifies what you'll see from him moving forward, not 3 goals every game, but Smith was saying that now he's a true weapon over there, and all the teams know it, and all the teams have to respect that it's not just Nanticoke, Bucky, and Smith over there. Joey Rez is a big deal in this league, and putting 3 goals up in a game like this, I think shows like, okay, now we have another person on that right side that we truly have to account for. And that gets a Nanticoke open, that gets a Buchanan open, and gets a Smith open. So I think now with him being more of a threat after a game like this, and even that game-winning goal was really impressive, you can't let him just disappear. Like, defenses are going to have to account for him. And I think that opens up the whole offense a little bit more.
So I got 3 negatives on this offense.
One I'm going to definitely...
they were...
agree with.
They were all in the first half. The first one, it ended very quickly, but Dane Smith was relying early on in the game, like first 10 minutes of the first quarter. He was relying a long. I'm going to start this again. He was relying a lot on outside shots that just were getting blocked and not getting to the net. And then that second goal where he just was like, Charbonneau, I'm going to take you 1-on-1. You can hold me all day long. You're not going to be able to D me. And nobody came to help him. Like, Steph Charbonneau's going like, guys, help. And no help was coming. And Dane Smith just backed them all in, does 10,000 fakes and beats them for an excellent bouncer in to make it 2-2. That's what I mean. Like after that happened, it started going. But like early on, it was outside shots. He couldn't even get him to the net. Second one, Kyle Buchanan was really sloppy, and even Pat Gregoire mentioned it on the broadcast. He was dropping so many passes early. I think it was 4 or 5 in the first quarter, and then it turned around. Like it was so off-brand for Kyle Buchanan to do that, and he still ended up with 0 turnovers, but I think that's because he never came up with the ball to turn it over. But yeah, it was very, very sloppy in the first quarter, first half, I would say. And then the last one, I think this is the one you're going to talk about. Oh, no. Okay. Again, no shot on net when they use a timeout at the end of the first half, and it almost cost them by like a split second later, and it would have been a goal. I don't know if they have to simplify the play calls or what, because there was like 5 or 6 passes before it got shot over Kyle Buchanan's head. They just don't get a shot on net, and I don't understand. Like this offense, when they have the man-up advantage in that situation, is deadly. You see them on the power play. They're the best power play team in the entire league. Finally, after 2 years of us going like, I don't understand why the power play is not working. I don't understand how. It's got to be that it's the play designs are too complicated, or they're looking for a too complicated of a pass, or making that extra pass, or whatever it is. But this is like 5th or 6th time now that they don't get a shot on net before halftime. It's just mind blowing. Like I'm not even angry at it anymore. It's just like I don't understand how that keeps happening over and over with the talent that they have and the electricity they have when they're man up. I don't get it, Phil. I really don't.
Yeah, I think with that, it's just so much of a mindset of we don't have a goalie and we need to take this all the way down to 0 seconds. I think because when they have the power play, you have Vince is in there, which helps quite a bit. And then you have like, oh, we can get this loose ball. It's everything like that. Like, I feel like the play design is like so perfect to make it so there's 0 seconds left on the clock. And that adds so much more
That's the Saskatchewan
pressure.
goal, or no, the San Diego one. Cal Buchanan scored behind the net. That play design, that has come back to haunt them because they're like, as long as there's 0.1 of that clock, we're good. Like they play to the final second. They literally play to the whistle.
And I think they're just so scared of getting that shot off a little too early. So like it's either you have this really complicated play that takes the shot clock down to 0 and maybe you risk not having a shot on net, or you get an early shot that you know is going to go on net, but you got Christian Del Bianco who can just pick it up, scoop it, and launch it and probably score because he's really good at that. The Buchanan one is what I noticed a lot of the first half and even into the third quarter a little bit. I wrote it down in my notes again, and he looked terrible. And he ended up with 2 goals. He ended up getting it. We worked it out. And like you said, it's very uncharacteristic of Kyle Buchanan. So I'm not going to say this is some kind of trend moving forward, but the first half, he looked really bad, and even a little bit into the third quarter, he was missing some. And then the one that he did get with Byrne, it looked like Byrne took a decent amount off of that fake shot to make sure he connected with him. Like, it wasn't nearly as hot as some of the passes, and I think that was part of the problem was a lot of the passes that were coming to him were, like, screaming, and he just, I don't know if he was 100% ready.
Did you also notice this as well? Like a lot of them are the play designs that we were calling for him was him to go to the opposite side of the floor.
Yes.
Like I noticed a lot of them were him going to the left side of the floor for the goalie.
Which I feel like I wonder if that is just harder to catch as well because you're
it's kind of
running the wrong way. It's behind you. It's a little bit trickier. So again, he ended up getting 2 goals. He looked fine. Like this isn't
Phil's in the hater of the Kyle Buchanan fan club. That's what I heard.
It's not going to be a long-term thing, but he did look rough in the first half. I wrote it down so many times in my notes. I was like, Buchanan, you got what are we doing? Catch those passes, man. But yeah, I didn't really have too much else in the negative. It was mainly Buchanan more than anything. And then, that was the other one, which is more of a joke than anything. But Smith with the one-on-one with Christian Del Bianco, and he had no one in a mile of him, and he takes like 2 fakes and just rips it, and CDB gets a really big save. Like, if I'm him, I'm sitting there, I'm throwing 600 fakes because I got there wasn't even a player charging onto the field yet, and he took like 2 fakes and tried to rip a quick goal, and I would have just sat there for a long time throwing as many fakes as I could. But one of the things I do like so much about CDB, and I don't know how he's so competitive yet so loose as just a human being and a player, because after that save he made, like him and Dane got tangled up just a smidgen, and as Dane was running away, he, like, patted him on the back like, good try. And you could tell he was being friendly about it, and it's always just insane to see that even after he lets a goal in, he'll say like, "Oh, my bad. Like, we'll get it out there," and like that's on me. Like, he's so competitive, but you don't see the angry fire very often from him. He's just very calm, very loose, and it's just compared to a Matt Vince who's screaming at his defense every play, it's just a complete opposite demeanor from two extremely talented goalies. And I think that's one of the really cool things about sports, really cool things about this game is that you can have two goalies that play wildly different styles and both are among the best to have ever done it. So pretty cool.
Yeah, the only other thing I'll add here is the spread on offense between the lefties and the righties. The lefties went 7-10 and 17 with 26 shots on net, 16 loose balls, 2 caused turnovers. The righties 7-11 and 18, 26 shots on net, 12 loose balls, 1 caused turnover. Like it was spread out perfectly, and it was the addition, a reintroduction of Ian McKay as a full-time forward. Like we said it last week, we said it the week before, that once he gets back, he needs to be a full-time forward, and we had hands up fully admit that we're idiots, because even at one point we were like, okay, he can play 2-man, because it was working in the first Saskatchewan game where he put up 4 goals and it looked really, really good. And then it was just like, okay, Josh Burns just physically can't do this himself. And you see when he ends up there, Josh Burns flowing as well, 4, 6, and 10. Scanlon gets 3 shots on net as well. Like he was doing all the dirty work. But on the righties, it was spread out. Like Joey Rez was the threat this time because Bucky was having a bit of an off game. And Nanticoke, yeah, he only got 3 assists, but 2 of the big time goals were Joey Rez to end that 2-goal run versus Vancouver. He uses the Nanticoke pick, sweeps up top, and beats Christian Lowe to get that 5-4 lead that they don't ever get back up. And then the 7th one on the delayed call because Nanticoke got taken down. Yep. That's Josh Byrne over the top. And that's another one where it's not going to get noticed in the box score. It's like, okay, 3 assists. He only had 5 shots, 3 turnovers. He didn't score for the offense, so he was the only forward that didn't score. Everybody's going to start complaining about that. But it's all the dirty work that he did in this game that freed up those shooters, and a lot of it came down to Nanticoke doing all the dirty work. So I wanted to make sure that he got recognition in this one, even though he didn't put the ball in the back of the net. But we'll move over to the defense
Before
here.
we switch off, just 2 more quick things. One, Scanlon, there was a really great play that he had mentally, and he scooped up the ball right in front of CDB. He had a 1-on-1. He was wide open, but Nanticoke was in the crease and wasn't quite out of the crease yet, and he was able to smartly pull up. And at first, when I first watched it, I was like, what is he doing? He's got all the time in the world. No one's around him. Why didn't you shoot? And then I watched the replay and realized that Nanticoke was still in the crease. I was like, oh, that's a really, really great job. I know that seems obvious, but someone in that situation might just be like, okay, I'm just ripping this, and if he gets out in time, he gets out in time. That would be great. And I already forgot the second one, so you can move on.
Yeah, perfect. We'll move on to the defense here, and if you remember it, just toss it in wherever. The good for the defense, pretty much everything. I mean, I didn't really have anything negative. The style that they played to force Vancouver into the shots they wanted. Like Vancouver was trying to get Buffalo to change up their defense, and Buffalo was just like, it's working. Why would we do that? Like, I thought overall, like, I have no complaints. Like going into it when I saw, Connor Farrell go on the pup list, I'm going, okay, here comes Taylor Dooley, and they call up Carter Coffey. And again, this is no shot at Carter Coffey. I think he has a spot to he's going to be in the position to win a spot next year on this defense. I just thought, since I've seen Taylor Dooley in his best game that I've seen him as a pro, we have not seen him again. I don't know if this means this is back-to-back games where Carter Coffey gets the call before Taylor Dooley. I don't know if Dooley got jumped in the pecking order. I really don't know, because they're both righties. It would seem like that. I don't know if it's just size difference because Carter seems to play a bit bigger than Taylor Dooley does. I don't know. But it's not like Carter Coffey had a bad game. He had a cause turnover and a loose ball in this one, and I didn't notice him for all the good reasons. It's just I was questioning that decision. Then I was also questioning, okay, Whitty over McCannell. And then when the game started getting gritty, I'm like, okay, this is why you have a Whitty in there over McCannell, because I can't. It's just not Mike McCannell's style of play. Whitty is one of those ones that's like, he's the Brad Marchand of this team. He's just, his mouth never closes, and I absolutely love it. Like when Subak was still chirping, he goes over and it's like chirping at Subak, who's like a foot taller than him, and shoves him. Like, I love his style. Like, I think I've said it on past episodes. When Whitty is chirping, he is playing his best style. When he's quiet on the field, I don't think that he is in his rhythm. Like, I think he has to have that chip on his shoulder, that like mean streak of chippiness to play his best, and he was at it in this one. I didn't really notice him for any of the bad reasons. Priolo, on the first penalty kill, he gets a good shot off in front of the net. It ricochets off CDB, and he's able to gather it, pull it out, and tick more time off the clock. I thought it was perfect. But when you're looking at the defense, like, you held Dixon to 2 points. You held Ball to 2 points. You held King scoreless. And I think Dave Buchanan tweeted this out. First time since 2019 that Jesse King has been held scoreless. Charlene Beatties and Clarish were your two best players, 2, 2, and 4. And you limited Clarish to just 2 shots and Charlene Beatties to 6. Like, overall, this team was phenomenal. Like, the excellence of this defense, where we said it off the top, 31 shots off target. That's just not because Vancouver is shooting wide. That's Buffalo's defense putting them in that position to shoot wide. I'm not saying it's every single one, but the majority of those shots are put in those positions because of what Buffalo's defense is doing to Vancouver's offense. Like, again, I don't think that Buffalo's defense was the best we have ever seen them play. I'm not going out on a limb and saying that, but and I'm also attributing Vancouver's just like no show of an offense that entire, like, they couldn't get anything going. I think it's a combo between the two, but it's not like Buffalo's defense ever let up, like, at all. Like, you could, once you get up by 8, 9, 10 goals, you could let the foot off the gas. They didn't do that once. Like, it was a great team effort. 13 block shots, 12 caused turnovers to 5 block shots for Vancouver and 4 caused turnovers. Like, this was a game where they were just down Vancouver's throat the entire time. And yeah, a lot of those caused turnovers were at the faceoff dot, but still, like, they never stopped working. Like, I'm going to say it again. This was a full 60-minute effort from every area of the Buffalo Bandits in this one.
Yeah, no, we keep talking about the rotating defense, which they had once again, but I think for the most part, the mainstays are starting to really gel and play together a lot better. Like, Desnu was out for a long time with that injury. Then Weiss was out for a few weeks with the injury. And I think everybody's kind of the main guys that aren't the Whitties and the Coffees that are rotated. Belcher's been in the lineup full time. So I think a lot of those players are starting to finally learn each other's tendencies, work together, learn how to work together, play off each other. Even Spanger, like, we haven't talked much about him the entire season, but he's had a really, really good season, especially coming back from the injuries that he has. Like, he's had small numbers here and there where he pops up. He's had good plays. He's been very steady on the defensive side. Again, he's not a player you notice a lot, but in this game, 3 block shots, 1 caused turnover. He's not noticed for the good reasons. And then when he is noticed, he's putting up a game like this where even he's contributing at a pretty high level. I thought for the most part, they did a really nice job. We'll get into the goals in a second where I got some complaints, but after I have the complaints that were early on, they locked it down after that. And I do think it is nice to see them kind of just, again, finally gel a little bit more. And we've seen since they shift the defensive system that they have playing way, way better. And I think Priolo even mentioned on his podcast that early in the season, they weren't giving Vino the looks that he was looking for, and the defense wasn't really playing to what he wanted. Then they shifted, gave everything that Vince is looking for, and now look at what Vince is doing. He looks amazing, and he is amazing. But yeah, I think the defense, I mean, to hold an offense like that, we were worried about this offense coming in, that they were maybe not the best in the league, but they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent on all sides, and to shut them down the way that you were able to, especially, I don't know if we have maybe it's a miscellaneous, but the special teams in this game were incredible. I mean, Vancouver comes in with one of the best power plays and easily the best penalty kill in the game, and Buffalo was able to squash their power play chances and did 3 for 5 on the power play themselves. So special teams were a massive part of this game, and it was 2 heavy hitters on both sides going at it, and Buffalo easily came out on top in that as well.
Yeah, this is no shot at Cam Wires and what he had done the past 3 years.
He looked
but
rough.
I said it a couple weeks ago. I like having Mitch Desnu on the down low because he's kind of like the Nick Weiss at the up top, where he just goes rogue every once in a while. And yeah, it might come back to bite you every once in a while back there, but he's also going to be in that corner, picking up the loose balls, laying the hit, possibly causing a turnover, where Wires is more just standing in front of the net like the Paul Dawson. So I think a little bit of a mix up, and it also helps that Nick Weiss is on the one side and Mitch DeSnew is down low on the opposite side. So you're not having both wild cards on the same side. You got the Steve Perillo is more stay at home with the Paul Dawson on the opposite side. So I think it works perfectly. And I like that addition of Mitch DeSnew on the back end in Cam Wires' spot, which Cam Wires took over from Bryce Sweeting when Bryce Sweeting went down. So I think it's just a hand-down effect. And I also think that Cam Wires has looked pretty stinking good when he's out on the field and not having to have the penalty kill on his shoulders as well. Yeah, there's breakdowns in every game, but
I thought rough in this game. There were times...
Right.
There were 3 or 4 plays. I was like, Wires, what are you doing, man? Normally he's great.
It wasn't the strongest game from him, but I think taking some of the responsibility off his shoulders of the special teams has also benefited him in the past by having a Mitch DeSnew who could take over that spot. But we'll move over to the goalie here, and this is also part of the defense.
The positives of defense super quick. We haven't mentioned his name in a few games, and it's for really great reasons. Dawson has looked much, much better these last few weeks. I don't know if he was similar to Vino, coasting a little bit in the beginning.
He was listening to us. He's just going like, yeah, maybe I don't have to jump in front of every shot. Let's stay on my feet.
Yeah, he's looked much better these last few games, and we haven't called him out, I think, once recently for...
I gave him his praise last week. Let's not get too cocky here.
Well, we got to hype. Playoffs are coming. They're official.
That's fair.
Got to hype.
Just stay on your feet. That's all we... That's what we said versus stay on your feet and you're good. And he's been good on his feet. Yeah, I do agree. He's been very solid, and I haven't noticed him. And there's part of a reason why I didn't really notice anybody in this last game, but I'll get in that in miscellaneous. This also part of the defense as well. Only 9 shots. This is based on what I saw from the shot ticker on the screen. So if these numbers are wrong, I apologize. Who's ever keeping that stat, do better next time. 9 shots on net for Vancouver in the first quarter. They had 12 in the second. They had just 5 in the third and 5 in the fourth. So it adds up to the 31 shots they claim they had. That number was probably going to jump when they finalize everything on Wednesday. But as of this moment in the recording, that's what I have. Matt Vince, a massive save on a diving shot through Clinch with 6 minutes going into the first quarter, a massive save near the end of the second quarter. He gave up no goals the final 26-28, just 1 goal the final 42-44 of the game. Like, I knew he was on a hot streak and this defense was unloading. When you only give up 5 goals, I get it. But to give up 1 goal nearly 3/4 of the game, that's absolutely insane. Like, he played unbelievable. Pats on our back because we were one of the few, and I know Graham Perro put out a tweet earlier saying like, okay, Bandits fans, they were saying that Matt Vince is washed. You've been really quiet lately. And I tweeted back, I'm going like, it wasn't just Bandits fans. Like, a lot of the league was saying that Father Time had caught up to Matt Vince. I think we're one of the few around there that didn't really question it at all. Like, we were saying he wasn't making those unbelievable saves that we've been used to, but we're also saying that the saves Buffalo was asking him to make were when players were right on top of him. Like, you went over all those stats a few weeks ago of, when, like, he's not facing the same amount of shots in the past. So if you do that, the numbers are very similar. If you're facing the same amount of shots, when you're giving up shots on top of the net, and you're not facing as many shots, of course your numbers are going to be inflated. It felt like there was way too many people in the league that weren't actually watching the games, and they were just looking at the box score and just going like, Father Time finally caught up to Matt Vince, and we're just sitting here going like, it's mostly the defense. Like, even when that Colorado game was, when they put up 20, the times that Matt Vince were in there, how many of those shots were right on top of the crease? So, like, there's a bunch of people that were filling out apology forms. We're not one of those ones because we've kind of known and covering this team for 5 years what to expect from Matt Vince. I'm going to say this without sounding biased, and I think I can do that just based on who I'm talking about. I don't know if there's a cliff, like the downfall of Matt Vince. I think he's just going to hang it up, and we're going to start questioning. Like, whenever, like, he could play for another 10 years, and I think he can play to this level in 10 more years. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this is me saying, and we had a debate, and I know I'm going on a rant here. We had a debate on who is the GOAT of NLL. Like, is it generational? Can you, like, divide it? Is it team by team basis? And I went, I don't know what it is, but, like, Matt Vince to me is the GOAT of NLL. Like, he's the greatest that ever's done it. the numbers is just there. He's done it for longevity. He's done it for multiple teams. Like, he's done it multiple generations and multiple different styles of lacrosse have gone through his tenure, and he's still this good. I'm saying this flat out. So this is not me being biased towards a Buffalo Bandits fan. This is me being biased towards Matt Vince. So maybe you can call me out for that. I don't know if there's ever going to be a fall off in his game. I think whenever he does retire, there's going to be so many question marks of going like, okay, but if he came back, could he still be doing this? Like, I think that's his game. Like, I do not see a Tom Brady. I do not see a Peyton Manning. I do not see a fall off for this guy. Maybe that's just blind loyalty to the guy. But I don't see it. He's 43. He's in his 20th season, and he's playing as good as he did 15 years ago. It's stupid. No human on the planet should be doing what he's doing right now, and he is. It's insane.
Have you seen the man?
He's scary. He's scary.
Yeah,
he could squish my head if he flexes, and my head's there.
But no, yeah, he continues to play at a very high level, and I think the more that people were talking about his downfall, they just wanted to wish it into existence, because
that could be it.
Like a few people said, as they're seeing this rebound that we always knew he'd had in him, that a league with Matt Vince playing at his top is not good for the rest of the league. So I think they were just
13 teams and 13 fan bases and multiple media personalities.
Exactly. If we can just keep saying it over and over, maybe he'll just realize he needs to have a downfall and he'll hit it.
You're supposed to be doing this.
Right. You're not supposed to be this good anymore. Just stop it. And instead, he's out there to prove the haters wrong and continues to play at a ridiculously high level. Even with the limited amount of shots he had in this one, I think he still had over an 81 save percentage. So yeah. Low amount of shots, still made all the saves he needed to. And as I was able to pick the 3 stars at the game for this last game, because Bud Bailey was not able to be in the press box, so they let me pick the 3 stars. And I kept looking at Vince the whole game. I was like, they've only allowed 5 goals. How do I not pick the goalie? But the shots just weren't there to really give it to him. He played great. Only allowing 5 is amazing, but it just wasn't quite what we're used to. Like the last few games when he's had 43 saves and only 7 goals and an 82 save percentage, those are what you're looking for. But still a really, really great game by him.
Phil's got a boo. Get him, not me.
Yes.
Number 1, Charlotte Beatty's first shift. Weiss just absolutely loses him, and he's right on top of the net. Quick stick. It's 1-0. Back-to-back bad plays by Nick Weiss, because Charlotte Beatty's, again, he gets lost by Nick Weiss. He gets in the middle, offside, makes it 2-1. And even Weiss is just like grabbing his stick, angry at himself, just going like, this is both times Charlotte Beatty's beat me. Third one, ball, like right off of Dylan Robinson's goal. Wires gets picked. Desnu leaves way too much space. He just absolutely nails the corner. Perfect shot, but you want guys out on hands. That's what we said multiple times in the last few weeks. This is not me taking a shot at Desnu, because I thought he played fairly well in this one, but there's been too many goals that are on Mitch Desnu because he's giving way too much space. Cleric on the 4th one, it was a good switch. Nick Weiss is out on hands, but it kind of goes off his stick and redeflects and beats Matt Vince, makes it 4-4. And then Cleric again, right off the bench, offside. Wires just lets him go right by him. This was a bad shift by Cam Wires, makes it 9-5 Buffalo. But I thought overall, what the defense was able to do, especially in the second half, was lock down their top scorers, get out to hands, and not let them get on top of Matt Vince. And even when they did, Matt Vince was right there to bail them out.
Yeah, the early goals was what I was really just going to complain about with the defense, is that some of the switch-offs were there, and it was like Vancouver was doing a good job being very physical right away and pushing the picks off of players and finding them space. Like you said, with Weiss getting picked twice and then loses his man because they came out very aggressive, but the defense, you could see, very quickly picked up on that and was able to flip a switch. And after that, they were obviously incredible. So no real complaints. And even that Cleric one, the 5th one, I mean, they're like, what are you supposed to do? He just sprinted off the bench and just ripped a really hard shot. Like nothing really the defense can do on that. And the only one I really had on Vince was the 4th one. Watching him, it looked like he was was resetting himself. He punched his stick. He was just about to get back into form, and then the quick shot came. I just don't think he was fully ready for it, and it looked like one they might have been able to save. So that's the only one I had on Vince. But overall, defense, Vince, really, really good.
Oh, miscellaneous. I might be one of the very few people in Western New York. I hated the jerseys. I wasn't in attendance. Maybe this would be better vantage point. Maybe you can tell me. It was impossible to see the numbers. Like if I hadn't been covering this team and studying these players for the last 5 years to see their movements and know what shoes they wear and the leg sleeves and the style of play they play, I couldn't make out the numbers on the back of their jerseys. I couldn't. Like, okay, cool. If you're going to have these, and I got a problem with the Marvel giveaway anyways, because I hate the jerseys. It makes no sense. I know it's a league-wide thing. Whatever. Hate me if you want. I hated the jerseys. I couldn't read the numbers for the life of me. I don't know how an average fan figured out who was doing what on the field, because if you hadn't been studying this game as long as we have, I don't know how you would make out. If McCannell was out there, how the heck would you have made out a 26 versus a 25 between him and Matt Spanger? You wouldn't have been able to. Like, I hate, even maybe better stitching on the back just to separate the letters a bit more, something, but like, it was impossible to see the numbers. But whatever. Like, that was my biggest gripe about the jerseys. Everything else, like between the snap of Steve Perreault and everything else that they were able to incorporate with the game, ended up being great. I just couldn't for the life of me figure out who was what based on their numbers. Face-offs here, and this is going to be my question to you. Dylan Robinson, I mean, the goal off the face-off proved to me you don't need a Fogo. I think what the Hands team was able to do was incredible. This was the best we've seen from the Hands team out there in all season. Like, they were getting the loose balls, causing the turnovers. Like, Dylan Robinson saw the ball go behind everybody, scooped it up, and finally hit the net, Phil. He finally did. But to me, this is the question I have for you. And Tino kind of gave me this idea on the interview last week. I know what this team is going to do. Like, when Connor Farrell's healthy, he's going right back into the lineup. Does this team need Connor Farrell, though? Like, that's my honest question. This is no shot, and I'm going to get a ton of hate because how much the Milkman is loved in Buffalo. That's fine. Bring it on. I don't care. Does this team need Connor Farrell? Like, this is back-to-back weeks, and I know last week they barely won one, but they got dominated the faceoff dot. Do they need, or can they get by with the collection and Dylan Robinson doing what he's doing at the dot? Like, I know Connor Farrell's coming back in, but to you, do they need Connor Farrell on this team?
No.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, is it worth, like, is there a true advantage of not having him on the team for the situation that happened in San Diego? He needed to win that one against Baptiste. He was able to win it, got the Bandits the ball, they score, they win that game in overtime. Maybe you're not in this situation if you don't. So that's the one main situation he's available for, he's great at, and he did it at that time. There's other times he needs to come up with that last second face-off, and he doesn't come up with that face-off. So that's when you're like, okay, well then what was the point of having you in here? And overall he's a good face-off guy. He's good at what he does, but
he's been very solid the last few weeks where we saw him.
But Dylan Robinson has been able to do enough and muck it up enough and scored off of a face-off by himself to make me think otherwise. And I don't know if Buffalo's had a great player like Dylan Robinson who could do enough at the faceoff dot to make this a bigger question. I think in the past we've had there was the one season and it was I don't think I was an analyst yet like this, and it was really hard to watch because Buffalo would false start every single face-off. They would just go early, lose it, head to defense. Go early, lose it, head to defense. And that season was really hard to watch because you're like, oh, here we go again. But now that I don't care as much about face-offs, but even like with Ian McKay, like, yes, he does a good job mucking it up, but I think Dylan Robinson's done better than what Ian McKay's been able to do in the past when he was kind of their main face-off guy for a little bit.
Yeah, Mickey was trying to win them clean. Like, Dylan's like, if I can win it real quick, otherwise you're not coming up with this one clean.
Right, and I think the Hands team knowing that also makes it easier on them.
They went 2-2 so often.
Yeah, and all they're looking for is a loose ball. They just know, like, if it's there, we're going to go off and get it. Like, when Farrell's trying to win it, sometimes he does win it clean, and the Hands team's like, yeah, what do we do now? Like, he won it, and then other times they're ready to pounce because he doesn't win it clean, and he just tries to muck it up. So I feel like with the Hands team knowing exactly kind of what Dylan Robinson's going to be able to do, which is pretty much muck it up and hope to get a loose ball, I think they're a little bit more aware and just ready because that's all you're really expecting from him. And I think to me, he's done enough in these last two games to make me think otherwise. I think if you had someone who was clearly losing them every single time, I'd feel maybe a little bit different. But
if you added Mitch to Snoo in there,
right,
went 0-11,
right, and I think Dylan Robinson's been a little bit of a revelation that he's done enough. I mean, he went 3 for 6 against Naso, and now he went 10 for 22 against Max Adler. And both of those guys, pretty decent faceoffs. I know Adler's down around the 45% so far since he came back, but Naso, obviously, it was only 6 chances, but he's up at 60%. So even going up against one of the best in the league, he was still able to do enough to muck it up to win that faceoff for the Bandits. So to me, and again, it comes down to the advantage of not having Farrell in and having a true rotational full-time player in his place, and then Dylan Robinson taking faceoff. So to me, I would say, especially heading into playoffs with a little bit of an older team, I'd rather have that rotational guy in there to keep the team as fresh as possible and just let Dylan Robinson do as much as he can.
Yeah, as long as it's not super wear and tear on Dylan Robinson, because that was the issue with Ian McKay and Nick Weiss and Chase Frazier. But I think because Dylan Robinson isn't like one of those, I'm not going to say super important players because that's a shot at him. I'm saying he's not playing the special teams role that Ian McKay and Nick Weiss and Chase Frazier were playing. So that's his extra tax on his body is those dots. But if you're not grinding out nonstop and you're just picking up those loose balls, I feel like it's not as much. Like you're not in a 30-second battle. You're not going to see the 30-second battle that we saw on Friday night to open the game. It's just not there.
He's also 23 years old. Go get it.
Yeah. But yeah, as long as it's not taxing on his body. I mean, I think we've said it for 5 years on the show. Like, faceoffs matter in certain situations, which, he came up massive versus that San Diego game, and who knows? They might not have won that game if it wasn't for Connor Farrell winning. This isn't a shot at Connor Farrell. I thought he's been very good for the majority of the games this season. But having the depth on defense, they gave up 11 goals in 2 games back-to-back without having a Fogo. I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but I think that's a contributing factor that they're able to have another defender out there to lessen the load on guys nonstop. But we'll move on over to the penalties. That's just a question I had because back-to-back games.
I had the exact same question without ever reading your notes. So once again, same thing.
Penalties, Whitty. I think this ended up being the holding the stick penalty. This was more smart on Curtis Dixon. What have I said? Like, if you feel a tug on your stick, let it go instantly. You're going to get the call. That's kind of what it felt like with Whitty on this one. I think Dixon just smart move. Legal substitution. I'm done complaining about this one because it happens so often. They're just never going to learn. Like the guys the man in the cages between Evan C. and Troy. It's just going to keep happening. I'm done fighting it. Legal body check, called major. I am starting to dislike this major down to a minor review because the refs the last month or two have been calling so many majors so they can reduce it and review it. I don't know how you fix that, but I think they're taking advantage of a system. If they don't see it fully, they're calling it a major so they can review it. Dead ball foul on Belter went right back at Subak. Whitty, same thing. Like, scrappiness right there. Priolo the fight, Weiss the fight, the roughing, misconduct, McKay, the illegal body check. Yeah, he crushed him. I don't see any bad decisions here. This seemed like a lot of the fourth quarter mess of Vancouver was just getting butt hurt because they were getting thrashed all across the board. They were getting frustrated because they couldn't do anything, and they were trying to start something to spark something. And like, I don't even think it was for this game. I think it was moving forward. Like, I don't think it was them trying to spark anything in this game because I think it was pretty much dead and buried by the time they started this. I think it was them trying to spark it for next week and into the playoffs. But yeah, I didn't have an issue with any of the refereeing decisions. I thought it was a good game, and I mean the crowd absolutely. I don't know why people are trying to get rid of fighting. There's a time and a place for it, and I thought this was the time and the place for it.
Yeah, I know you weren't there. I don't want to keep harping on it, but this was, again, whenever they fight like this, and especially the big square offs, like, it never gets louder in that arena until they're fighting. And then, like, when Belter threw his hands up to get the crowd pumped, it's so loud and it's so incredible to see them. And I thought Buffalo did a really nice job. And I mean, I give some credit to Vancouver for trying to spark their teams, the players that were trying to just kind of square up and have a good fight. But yeah, I love the fighting. Like you said, time and place, don't just be knocking people's heads off for absolutely no reason or just, but this was one of those games, two really heavyweight teams. Why not have some heavyweight fights mixed in there? The only one I didn't love, the Priolo body check, the 5 down to a 2. I thought it was a massive dive by the Vancouver player.
It was a mixture of both. It was super late.
Yes.
But yeah. The
But
one he left hurt.
It was a hard
He
flop.
left hurt. Like he was hurt and he went to the bench hurt. So there was that part. Like it definitely hurt him. The one angle he did flop to get the call, but it
he
was
flopped
super
to get
late.
a high call.
Yeah.
He flopped to get like the 5, like threw his head back, and then. So yeah, I do agree that the 2 was a fine call, but it was a pretty hard flop for the 5. But other than that, they were all fine calls. I
didn't mind the fight. I didn't mind the Priolo Beers fight. I didn't mind the Nick Weiss and the Grant fight. The only thing I didn't like was the Subak one. Like I thought that was kind of scummy, to be honest. Like going right at Belter and then Belter wants nothing to do with it because of the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Like you got to find a willing combatant. If the guy ain't willing to combatant, like.
Luckily, Belter ended up on top.
Yeah, I thought Belter did a good job, and I thought Whitty did a good job to come to his aid as well. Like I thought they handled that perfectly. It's just that's the only area, and I would say this if it was with the Bandits as well. Yeah. You got to find a willing combatant. You can't just pick anybody out of the floor.
Belter's helmet off and just wanted to fight him, and even Whitty, he got pretty taken there trying to stand up for his man. But I think they both did a good job. But neither of those fights I didn't like. I liked how the NLL is like saying that. Look at the line brawl. That's the definition of a line brawl now, guys. Like, settle down. I know you want clicks, but they don't want fighting, but they will happily promote fighting. All as whenever it happens, like, look at this great fight. Also, don't fight. And the Whitty one I actually thought was really funny because Whitty lost his stick in the battle with Dixon and then just went and grabbed Dixon's like, well, I don't have a stick. I'm taking your stick.
A couple milestones happened. The Paul Dawson over 300 games. Him and Benny, same game. But Dawson got it first because their game started first. Josh Byrne, round of applause, boys. I'm not gonna hit the button because I don't want to edit it. But congratulations, finally 16 games in. You got it. You tied David Rock. Now I need to get one more. Dane Smith and Josh Byrne are both now tied for 7th all time in Bandits single season history with assists. So congratulations to them. They're moving further up. Josh Byrne quietly into the top 5 in scoring. I look like an idiot for criticizing him. I guess not because he deserved it, but he's back up into the top 5 in points on the season for the NLL. And both of them have a chance to move back up in the number 1 spot because I think the majority of the top 5 is now tied except for Connor Fields. Week 19, we're almost an hour in, so we're going to fly through these. Vegas falls to Colorado to fall to 7-8. Colorado wins and moves back up the ladder 13-8. This was back and forth game the majority of the time until Colorado kind of just took it over in the second half. This was a game where I think Bouquet played pretty well until down the stretch. It seemed like, again, he got tired. If Vegas had a competent goalie that was very steady, they'd be a top 6 team. But because they don't, now they're on the brink of possibly missing the playoffs, and Colorado's solidifying themselves as a possible destination for a first-round home playoff game. If they win next week, I believe they can lock it up.
Yeah, as we continue on, there was a lot of big playoff implications this week and a lot of very interesting ones to make the last couple of weeks that much more interesting. But yeah, this is what we were talking about with Vegas, that they have a pretty good team. They just... I don't know if they're ready to put it fully together, especially without Fraser. But the biggest thing is their goaltending. And again, he wasn't terrible, but this is the kind of competition you're going to be playing in the playoffs. And that's who you have to be good enough against. And they just don't seem like against the top talent, they'll be able to put it fully together.
I just double checked the NLL website. If you're listening to this now, Buffalo, Georgia, and Toronto don't have the X. They're all clinch. So NLL is just a little slow to get that going. But those 3 teams, top 6 are finalized. Well, I should say 6 teams are in, 2 spots are open left for teams to try to secure their spot. Saturday, first game, Halifax drops Rochester. Nearly fully eliminated them, keeps Halifax lifeline still beating, but 15-10 and a must-win game. Again, Rochester has a goaltending issue. They don't know who to start because Hutchcraft started this one, struggled. They put Hartley in. He goes 19-23 in 33 minutes. Like, whoever starts struggles, and then the backup comes in. Like, maybe just start somebody for the first 3 minutes and flip it and see if that works. But yeah, Halifax keeps their lifeline going and Rochester falls further down. Like, Rochester's going to miss the playoffs, and they're going to be not just sweeping changes because the coaching staff has already been swept. There might be sweeping changes in this organization of player-wise because this is the first full offseason Seneca Nation's going to be a hold of them. I could see a massive shakeup with a lot of these players getting shipped out or, finding a new home in free agency.
I don't know how many times we have to say having a great goaltender, having an elite goaltender is a massive, massive difference in this league. I think you can say it in a lot of sports with QBs, obviously, with other goalies in NHL, but it seems like the NLL, if you don't have an elite goalie, you can only go so far. And Rochester has a lot of talent on that team, but without the goaltending being steady, it can't take you as far as you want. And then missing the playoffs just seems like a monster failure of a season.
Next one, snooze fest. Toronto,
Sure
7-5. My God. But Matt Sawyer, congratulations, buddy. You used your brain and you put Nick Rose in, and look what happens. You win. The only time you've lost a game so far when Nick Rose is healthy, it's when you don't start Nick Rose. Yeah, it's my hate of Matt Sawyer. I don't think that he's a good coach. He's not going to get fired because they're sitting 10-6, but he should not be the coach of Toronto. Sorry. I'm saying it flat out. Like, there's better options than Matt Sawyer. I don't think he's handling this team very well at all. But cursed, another 2-1-3. Like, the rookies were fantastic in this one. English, 12 loose balls, 3 caused turnovers. Like, he's not getting enough recognition as a rookie in this league. Matthews was really bad in this one. San Diego, I mean, poor Ulrich. Another game where he only lets in 7 goals and another loss. San Diego is on the brink of elimination. I do not see a way that they win unless they sweep the season series versus Las Vegas in the final week. And even then, it might not matter. Like, oh man, San Diego is just a dumpster fire as well. There might be changes out there as well.
They've lost last 4 games. O'Rig has allowed 9, 10, 9, 7. Cannot get a victory. He's
got to be looking around like, can I get a call to firefighter school, please? Can I get out of here, please?
That poor man. We've talked about it so much, and I saw the score again. I was like, he's once again going to be overlooked, get no credit. It's going to be just looking back at a failed San Diego season, and it's just hard to realize that they have one of the best goalies in the league because he gets no credit when you lose the game. No one cares that you only let in 7 goals, but your offense put up 5.
Last game of the weekend, Toronto gets another win. Oshawa takes down Calgary and improves the stock of Toronto's first overall pick here. It was a game that we expected. It was another low scoring game, but a very fun game back and forth, 7-7 after 3. And, it was, I mean, these are 2 teams that are not playing for anything besides pride because they don't even have their own picks. But it was a good game back and forth. Like, again, Calgary has a very bright future moving forward if they add some pieces this offseason. I know Dyson went down in this game. He ended up coming back. Hopefully that's not just adrenaline. There's nothing serious. But it was a competitive game that we were looking forward to in a meaningless game, I guess you would call it. But it was a good back and forth game.
Yeah, I think Walsh is starting to. I mean, he's been relatively steady the whole season, and Calgary's been a pretty solid team. But yeah, as he continues to develop and as that defense continues to develop, he seems like he's going to be their goalie of the future. I know there were a lot of questions after what he did with Vancouver. Like, yeah, he did really well, but that was with Vancouver's defense. How was he going to do here? He's had some hiccups in the road for sure, but I think he's really starting to turn it around and looks like the longer he plays, that he is going to be their goalie of the future, which is great for Calgary.
So we got, I believe it's a 7-game slate for week 20 next week. We're over an hour, so let's dive into this. And Phil, if you'll let me on my soapbox I know I've had multiple rants on this one. Thursday for the Buffalo Sabres, they lost to Ottawa 4-1. Saturday, they lose to Washington 6-2. But Phil, for the first time since 2011, the Buffalo Sabres are going to the playoffs. Them clinching it was such a mirror image of this season of they just took the league by storm December 9th and have not looked back, that it's only fitting that the season that they clinched the playoffs, they had no hand in them actually clinching it because Detroit's losing got them sealed. Like, on a lazy Saturday afternoon, you're waiting to go to a Bandits game, Detroit loses and Buffalo's in the playoffs. Like, I'm not saying I got emotional, but the feelings hit me when I watched that video and RJ's voice started, like, when he passed away and we had that whole conversation on this show talking about what he meant to our childhoods and growing up with that voice of the Buffalo Sabres and hearing him once again kind of explain, like, the drought's over, like, it's finally happening. We've been talking for the last couple days of the party in the plaza is going to be at Canalside this time because Canalside didn't exist last time Buffalo was in the playoffs. You posted the picture that you found. Riverside didn't exist. Or, I'm sorry, Riverworks didn't exist. Like, it was just an empty field and it was a dream, they said. That didn't exist. I don't even know if the Harbor Center existed at that point. Like, I think it was in the development of getting worked on because Terry had just bought the team. Like, I still go back to what our buddy Alex said a couple years ago about him not being able to bring his children and experience what he did growing up with this team. Like, I can't believe for the first time in, like, our fan base has been a part of. I'm actually getting emotional, Phil. I didn't think I'd actually get emotional with this. Going on 5 years of the show, like I said, the Buffalo Sabres were my first love. They're finally back in the freaking playoffs, Phil. Like, the Buffalo fan base went through the longest NFL drought of 17 years. That was pretty much our entire childhood. The Buffalo Sabres just ended the longest NHL playoff drought. That lasted the end of my teens, my entire 20s, and the start of my 30s. I'm going to be 34 this year, and I have not seen the Buffalo Sabres play in the playoffs since I was 18 because they were done by the time I turned 19. Like, they were out of the playoffs before then. Like, it's insane to think about that this team is finally back in the playoffs. Like, we're going to see playoff action. We're going to be able to go to a bar with our group of friends and watch the Buffalo Sabres compete in the National Hockey Playoffs. Like, I feel more feelings towards this drought ending than I did for the Buffalo Bills. And I think that reinforces what I've thought about this team, that, like, I love the Bills. Like, I'm rooting for them to win the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not going to be any less happy about them winning the Super Bowl. But, like, I have a different feeling towards the Buffalo Sabres, and I don't know what it is or why that is the case. I'm the kid that was Dominic Hasek down in my basement with the pads, doing all the moves he did, having on my roller skates in the basement, like making the saves, having the net behind me. Like, I was that kid, and we went 14 years without being able to feel this. Like, I've graduated college. I got a full-time job. I bought 2 houses. I got married. Like, that entire part of my life doesn't know PK when Sabres are in the playoffs. For the first time in 14 years, everybody that has now come into my life and has stayed there now is going to see PK when the Buffalo Sabres are in the playoffs. And I don't know how many people are going to stick around through this first round of the playoffs. Like, I don't even care that they lost the last 2 games. I am just so psyched that they finally clinched the playoffs, and we're going to be able to talk about playoff Buffalo Sabres hockey on the show.
It's like meeting someone brand new for the first time who's pretty much never met the current you ever. And
most people don't like the previous me. They're definitely going to hate the current me.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, like I said, and I talked about it a little bit, that, like you said, you got in on a loss of another team. It wasn't even like you won and you got in, like you clinched it yourself. It was you're on a 2-game losing streak, yet you clinched playoffs. So it's a little bit strange, but at the same time, I agree with you. Like, as soon as they clinched, saw the post, saw the Rick Jeanneret, I like kind of welcome back to the playoffs, and it did hit quite hard. Watching that, and like you said, everything with Rick Jeanneret, and it's weird to be in playoffs. And I still go back to talking to some people at work a few weeks ago talking about playoffs, and I was like, well, I don't have MSG, it's too expensive. I have ESPN Plus, but everything's blacked out. Like, how am I supposed to watch it? And they were like, the NHL playoffs are on national television. I was like, how am I supposed to know that? It's been 14 years. All right, I don't watch the playoffs that much. Once it goes, like, I don't care about these teams. So I was like, I don't know that they're on TV, and I haven't had to know for 14 years. So it's going to be weird, but more than anything, it's very exciting. I'm very interested to see how they do playoff tickets, because wow.
Last I heard, there was very select few because of how well the season tickets did.
Yeah. I did hear that what they were offering playoff tickets if you renewed season tickets or got season tickets for next season. I feel like a lot of people did that just to get playoff tickets. So
very smart.
Yeah.
Great business savvy there.
Yes. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. More than anything, it's just gonna be fun to watch playoff hockey again and have it actually mean something. No matter what they do, obviously we want them to do well, but to say the Buffalo Sabres are in playoffs, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I got way more emotional about that. Like, I was holding back some tears here, Phil. I'm okay to admit that. Like, on this show, I've had to talk about like my uncle passing and like my cousin's passing, and maybe my family's gonna hate me for this. I got just as emotional talking about the Sabres making the playoffs as I did them passing away, and that's just like the messed up part of the my family. If that's how we deal with that kind of stuff, but like
not nearly as long of a drought, but you could feel the same energy from Joey Rez in his press conference with, I think he said he's been 3 years since he's been in the playoffs, that Philly's just been a little bit rough for him, and to be able to do it for his home team, like finally having them clinch playoffs. I asked him, like, what does that mean to you? And he's like, that's why we play the game. Like, I want to be part of the team that means something. I want to be part of meaningful lacrosse, and to see him get a little bit worked up about being able to go back to the NLL playoffs, it's very similar of a feeling.
Yeah, so if you want to see PK almost cry, go to YouTube.
You might have let it tear out there.
One was almost streaming down my face. But that concludes this episode. On the next episode, we got Buffalo versus Rochester preview, fan appreciation night, and we're putting it out in the universe now because we were right in the past. Phil and I are in agreement that we think the fan giveaway this season, we know nothing. We know no inside information. We're putting it into the universe, and this is going to be on record because this is going to be out before they announce anything. We're thinking it's a replica belt that they give to the heavyweight player after each game, because Scott Loeffler has said that it's not going to be a ring, it's not going to be a trophy. I think the next thing is the belt. So I think it's a mini championship heavyweight belt that they hand to the players. So we're putting that in the universe. I think that's I think we're right on this.
We got it.
Like,
I think we got it.
We tossed some ideas back and forth. We did that last year as well until we settled on like the mini replica trophy. We're putting it. If we're right again, we got to go buy a lottery ticket or something, because I don't know what they're going to do next year when they win 4 in a row. But that concludes this one. Next episode, Buffalo versus Rochester preview. We'll go over week 20 of the NLL, because now that Buffalo's clinched, now it's where they fall in the seeding. Don't forget, Phil's article is going to be out on Tuesday, breaking down this game further in more details. I think there's probably going to be some discussion of fights in there as well. Maybe. We got interview with somebody from Rochester coming out on Wednesday. Don't forget to vote for the people's picks on X on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and on Instagram stories on Tuesday and Wednesday. 2 more weeks. You guys are still trying to catch Phil. I'm still trying to catch the people. Still 4 games back of Phil and 2 of the people. People are 2 games back of Phil. But yeah, then we'll be back Friday with our normal episode to preview that. 2 weeks left of the regular season of the NLL. So we will round this one out as I have to do a whole new outro here. Phil, thank you for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Co. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Remember, Phil's article is coming out on Tuesday. Give it a read, and if you want to read any of the past ones, they're there as well. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. Welcome back to the playoffs, everybody. Till next time, bye-bye.